All right. Well, we're back from the coffee break. We had some technical difficulties during the coffee break, but that's exactly when we're supposed to have them. So that's a good thing, right, Pat?
I say so, Jeremy. I think we'll be
Yeah.
okay now.
Sounds good. Well, yeah, Anthony. So we've been talking about you, to you. Also, I feel like I've been slightly mispronouncing your name. Can you say it for us
Uh,
just to make sure?
Anthony Garofalo is fine.
Okay.
Garofalo is the one I heard a lot growing up. It's an adopted last name, so I've never really cared too much how it was pronounced, Garofalo or Garofalo.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's fine. I've been called both my whole life. It's like, oh, you're like Janine Garofalo, like the actress.
Sure,
It's like,
why not?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
the person I want to be.
Sure.
Well, anyway, so we've been talking about your time at Blue Origin and I can't how you got there, but now you've been at Blue Origin for how long? Just to clarify that.
About 2-3 months now. About
2-3
three
months.
push. It'll be about 3 months and a week or so. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And I saw you at the Maker Faire for the first time. It's funny because this is the first time. You're usually not on camera, and you said it took you a while to even talk on camera on your YouTube, just because we're engineers, we have a hard time with that, myself included. But it's funny though, like you always had the mask on your face, and you came up and talked to me, and I'm like, who is this guy? Because because honestly, you're a little taller and a little like thinner than I thought. I guess maybe the mask makes me think you're just like down, and, like some sort of I don't know. I just
Yeah.
you get some impression.
Well, I did used to be a bit heavier.
Okay.
Also, yeah, I was about 20 pounds heavier a couple years ago. So I
Okay.
did lose some weight, probably from that picture anyway.
Okay,
But,
well, it's maybe a little both.
but the mask does. Yeah. I used to wear like a welding mask, like a welding respirator when I would solder. Like sometimes I'd just be soldering boards all day. Like
Ooh.
I just literally all day. I would do S&D stuff, a lot of prototyping stuff. But sometimes I got to make up 50 boards by myself, hand placement, one by one, every component. And I'm just, I got tired of, like, I preferred the mask over the, like a vent
Okay.
hood or something, but
Fair
that's
enough.
just me. I don't know. It kind of looks cool too.
Yeah, it's a good for
Uh,
the photos. In fact, my YouTube photo has me on a mask too. So it's funny because it was like pre 2019. So like I feel like people saw it like
yeah,
later,
they
they're
probably
like,
see.
yeah, like, oh, that guy's really like into the mask thing. And I
Yeah.
mean, whatever. I wore, I did what I needed to, but it had nothing to do with that whatsoever.
Yeah, I always wondered what people would like now look at my profile, and I'm wearing a respirator. They think I'm wearing that like every day outside, or
Well,
it's
yeah,
like no.
it's funny. It's like, 2020 era. It's like, 2019. You walk into a bank with a mask on, and they're, calling the cops and putting money on the table, and then 2020, you walk into a bank without a mask on, and they think it's a bad thing, I guess. Anyway, that's not the subject of this podcast, I guess. But,
It's whatever you want it to be.
It's
though.
whatever you want, whatever we want it to be, I guess. But anyway, Pat and I were talking. We should probably talk about the Maker Faire a little bit. Now, I saw you at the Maker Faire, met you
Jeremy,
for the first time.
what
You were
is
with,
the Maker
yeah.
Faire? I've never
Oh,
been.
That's a good point. Have you really? You've been to Maker Faire, haven't you?
Me? No.
Yeah. Okay, well,
Never.
so a Maker Faire is something, basically, it's like an adult science fair. Basically, these people that have something they want to show off, whatever, or maybe you're selling something, or maybe you have combat robots you want to fight, or a race car, they have that too. Basically, it's just like a bunch of people who like to make stuff. They go to this thing called a Maker Faire, and you get to show it off. Lots of people come, you talk to them, and it's like a festival of engineering and art and whatever else. It's pretty it's pretty fun.
So this just takes
Um,
place out in the parking lot of some place, or is this in a building, or what?
Yeah, it's in my driveway. It was no, so the one in Orlando, it's been going on for 10 years. It's Maker Faire Orlando. They have it at the Central Florida Fairgrounds, I believe it's called. And my exhibit, my table, was in something, I think they called it the Opportunity Building or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. They were
Okay.
all the buildings are named after different like NASA
Okay.
like missions and stuff.
Yeah. So I was there. I had my table. Let's see. Actually, the guy we had on last week, Mr. 4-Bits, his 4-Bit Industries was there. Anthony may have seen him. He was close to them. They had
So, Jeremy, you're
lots
telling
of
me you
people-
took your little walking rover into a building named after a rover?
Yeah,
well, that's interesting. I never
yeah,
quite got
he did.
that.
He did. He
I
did.
never quite got that
Fantastic.
connection. But yes, I had my clear crawler there, and it was crawling around and stuff, and also had some PCBs that I made. So I feel like my table was kind of like had it was interesting, but it had kind of like a split personality maybe. Whereas somebody like Mr. 4-Bits that we had him last time, he was there to sell. He did a very good job. He was excellent. And then 2 booths down from him, we had Anthony Garofalo, or I should say Blue Origin, who had a great display. And they actually, so I guess you guys were just talking about what you guys do, but the coolest thing was they had these postcards that they were giving out. And what were these postcards all about, Anthony? What was this? What was the deal here?
Yeah, so I'm an engineer for Blue Origin, but I'm an ambassador for their company that's it's kind of under the umbrella of Blue Origin. It's a nonprofit company called Club for the Future, and it's all about promoting STEM education for kids. And so one of the big things we do is we go to schools, and we also are involved with creating curriculum that involves space, so the kids learn about space and are excited about space, because the hardest thing in the space industry is finding talent, because who's building rockets? Like, there's only so many engineers that have experience building rockets. So we want to increase that, because in the future we're going to be building more and more of these rockets, and we need that workforce. So we go out and we go to these schools, and one of the biggest hits is these little postcards we do. And we actually have a payload container that we strap to every launch, and then we send these postcards up to space, and then when they come back, we take them out, we stamp them that they've been to space, and then we send them back to the kids. And it's really cool. It's just like the kids will sometimes just draw like art on the back, like a rocket launch or some kind of, we just tell the kids to write anything on the back. There's if they don't know what to write, there's a little prompt if they want, but it's kind of write whatever you want, and we actually send it to space. It comes back, and we send it back to the people.
This is like a letter to Santa Claus, except it's really
Yeah,
cool.
exactly.
This is really cool.
Yeah, I know. It's really cool. My mom, once she found out that I had access, I have like a stack of them, and she's like, you gotta send me. So I had to send my mom a handful, because she wants to give them out to like my nieces and cousins and things like that. So
No, honestly, I had kind of forgotten about it the day before the podcast, or a couple hours ago. I gave my kids. I gotten some things from the Maker Faire for them. One was this guy had epoxied SMD parts. I don't know if you saw that, Anthony. It was at Nightfire Electronics, I think. Anyway,
No,
they basically had all these like leftover surface mount parts, and they put them in epoxy, like in letters and stuff, and made like jewelry out of them. Really quite clever, since some of the stuff you just have too much of it. But anyway, so I gave them some of that, but I also gave them the cards, and they were so like excited about it. It was I wasn't sure what they'd think about it, but they thought it was like the coolest thing ever.
yeah, no, it's exciting.
Yeah, the only thing I was like, yeah, here's one's for you, and I got 3 kids, and one of them's a baby, and I was like, yeah, and then mommy and I can do the 4th one, and my middle daughter, she's like, oh no, we won't have one for everyone. I'm like, no, mommy and I will share one, and you guys can each do your own. And they were pumped about it though. So
That's awesome.
So thanks for that. I thought that was
Yeah,
awesome.
no, that Maker Faire experience is pretty awesome for me. I mean, I must have talked to hundreds of kids, and they were so excited about space. And like some of these kids were like, "Oh, did you see the Falcon Heavy with 2 solid boosters in it? It's like the Dragon capsule." And like these kids are talking about rockets like we used to talk about cars. Like it's a Dodge Viper or it's a Pontiac Grand Am. Like these kids are like, "Oh, did you see the Falcon Heavy?" like
we don't
it's
talk.
crazy.
This is Blue Origin. We don't talk about Falcon Heavies.
That's okay.
Do any of these kids play Kerbal Space Program?
I'm sure they do. I've never played it. I'm big into games. I never played it. It looks cool though. I've seen lots of like cool things on Reddit with the Kerbal space? Like what exactly? I think you're familiar with it. How does it work?
Well, I've only played it in. There's a sandbox mode where you have access to all the parts, but I've only played the career mode where you start out. They give you goals to make money. Like you have to just launch a rocket and you get some money, and then you get more parts and you can build fancier rockets. You get to orbit and then to the moon, and then I've only gotten to the moon. But you design the rockets out of boosters and couplers and separators and fuel tanks and stuff. And they have a mod that turns it into real life. They use real NASA parts with real scale. The Kerbal planet is not it looks like it's Earth, but it's much smaller. It only takes like a minute and a half to get to orbit instead of, I don't know how long, I don't even know the right amount of time.
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it takes to, like you could be fully in orbit in less than 2 minutes. But they did the right thing there, because it would be boring if you had to sit and wait 20 minutes, every time you failed to get your rocket to orbit.
Have either one of you watched a rocket land before?
Not in person.
I have not. Oh man, I'm like, it's like, I saw it the first time. I'm like, man, I don't live that far away from that, but I know I have not seen it. Is it awesome? Is it as awesome as you would think?
It's way more awesome than the launch itself. The Falcon Super Heavy was amazing. Not the launch itself. It was like the launch itself was like, okay, it was not nearly what I saw the other night with 8.8 million pounds of thrust. But when they land, sometimes they land out on the barge, sometimes they land at the Space Force. And a couple weeks ago, they landed at the Space Force, and I was lucky enough to be able to see it from the base. So awesome. I was there, and I didn't get footage of it, but when they land, because there's two of them landing at the same time, they each break the sound barrier. And when they break the sound barrier on reentry, it's just so loud, and it's like pop, pop, pop. And then pop, 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 and it's just like it's unexpected than just more. I don't know. It's just I recommend it if you can plan it. Try to. I know
we'll have to try to do that sometime. It's seeing on the video, it looks like a really really cheesy special effect. It's like that's
just played in reverse.
Whatever.
Jeremy. That's a takeoff in reverse.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't look real to me.
No, it doesn't look real in person either. That's the crazy thing. It doesn't look. It looks fake. It's like, what the heck? That's why it's exciting.
There was a cheesy Soviet Union. Have you guys seen this? Like the Soviet Union, there's some cheesy black and white Soviet Union film, like 60s or something, and the rocket goes up and then it lands, and it's like, oh, that's really cheesy. But now, what do you know? They do that kind of thing. So.
Oh, it's crazy, and I didn't. Do you know that rockets are controlled the same as intercontinental ballistic missiles?
That makes sense to me.
That makes sense, but what do you mean by that exactly?
So an intercontinental ballistic missile works by going up, over, and down.
Right.
That's how a lot of them work. Like we could technically send a missile up to space. Let's go over, and then straight down. So there's nothing stopping NASA or SpaceX or Blue Origin from strapping weapons to these things, so they're controlled as if they were weapons. So
right. So that's interesting. So what you're saying is the intercontinental missiles, they are designed in such a way that they go up, and then basically to taunt the, we'll just say the Soviets. They come down they land very slowly, and then so they can see their doom.
Yeah.
Well, I think what he's really saying is they're not so ballistic. If they have a controllable trajectory, they could go up and then be, right? That's
okay.
Because if it could go up and stop and then come back down, that's not a ballistic trajectory anymore, right? That's
a good point.
Yeah.
This is some really, really crazy futuristic stuff, but one thing we wanted to make sure we talked about. Now, you said, and hopefully this isn't like top secret or anything, but you guys 3D print, you guys have a gigantic metal 3D printer that can actually print all kinds of stuff,
correct,
right?
Correct. Yeah, and some of these other companies have them as well. I work with 3D printers almost every day. It's awesome. And there's a handful of smaller metal printers, and then there's bigger ones much bigger ones. And yeah, some of these prints take 30 days.
What's the
You're
biggest
talking
one that you have? Or that, not
What,
you. But,
printer?
yeah.
You could drive a car. You could basically you could
wouldn't
drive a
3D
car into
print
it.
Car.
Yeah. Well, you 3D print rocket parts though, rocket engine nozzles and things like that.
So it's this big, but what kind of tolerance can you get out of it? If it's, as big as a car, can you get a, couple thousand tolerance or whatever?
Metal 3D printing is a lot more complicated than plastic 3D printing because of the thermodynamics, basically. So for a lot of, it depends on which printer you're using, but if you take one that it kind of works the same way as an FDM printer, right? Some of them. So if you look at the ones that work like FDM printers, where they're basically going layer by layer, but instead of spools of filament, they're cartridges that are similar to a crayon. So it's like about the same size as a crayon too, but this crayon has metal powder in it, and there's some kind of binder, wax or some kind of binder that binds them. And so instead of a spool, they have these cartridges that look like little cigarettes or crayons, and then they drop them in, and then it kind of extrudes them like a injection molding instead of like a gear that you would have on an FDM printer. And then so the crazy thing about the metal printing is that when the part's done, it's very brittle. It needs to be annealed in an oven. So we put it in an oven, and then it shrinks, and it's not a linear shrink. That's where it gets very complicated. It's not a linear shrink. Every inch of thickness you adds more of a tapered expansion. It's not. The part is not shrinking or expanding in a linear fashion, so it depends. It's highly dependent on the geometry. Every part is never right on the first time.
Do you have to
every single part
design for that, or does the software that does the slicing does it try to compensate for that?
It's a bit of both, but you have to basically model it like this to make it end up like this, because it's not only a shrinking thing; it's a tapered. As you get thicker, you get more uneven cooling, and it's a lot more. It's a lot more complicated than plastic, but it's something that I'm really excited about, and it's one of the things that makes me happy to be where I'm at, because I'm getting to work with the most expensive equipment in the world, and I can reach out. There's 10,000 employees at Blue Origin now. I can reach out to any one of them. I've already looked at who the experts are on different topics, and it's like I have the best library I could think of. I find an expert, I can talk to them. I find an expert, I can grab lunch with them. I find who, it's really cool, because everyone I've reached out to has been like, oh yeah, I'll give you a tour of this crazy testing facility. Yeah, sure. And I can request to just go to Kent next week and work from there for a week if I want to. It's weird for me, but it's exciting, because
awesome.
The
You ever
machinery
asked Jeff Bezos for $1 million or anything?
No, but it's I've talked to a lot of people that talk to him, and it's pretty crazy the amount of work that these guys have done in the last several years. We went from, just in the last year, we've hired about almost 5,000 people this year.
Wow.
We've almost doubled this year alone.
That's amazing.
So we went from 5,000 people last year to about 10,000 now. So it's crazy.
Or Blue Origin, obviously, they're in their infancy still. Are they? Or companies have contracts with them, right? So they are going towards profitability.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have customers. The new Shepard rocket, which launches out of West Texas, that's kind of like more of a tourist, also research driven. Source of revenue. So the people that go on the new Shepard, we've launched several of them now, and we've launched. I don't know off the top of my head, but the amount of humans we've launched this year alone is
Wait.
a lot.
So I didn't actually know that. So the new Shepard, so you can buy a trip to space now. That's like taking.
Yeah.
normal-
We've took. I mean, hold on. Let me.
I
let
am
me
only
look.
going
I mean,
up there if I'm
how
on
many-
the shuttle with William Shatner.
He went. I highly recommend either one of you watching the. I think I should know the name of it, but it's on Amazon Prime. The video
Naturally.
portion. Yeah. There's Shatner in space or something to do with. There's a documentary where William Shatner goes up.
I think I saw that pop up. So that's a pretty decent show or show.
Yeah, no, it was cool. It was just like a little mini documentary.
Nice.
No, let me
Yeah, I
see.
had no idea. I mean, I knew Bezos went up that one time, or Bezos, yeah, mispronouncing everyone's name today, but I didn't realize it was just like a thing now. So that's
Yeah. Just I think as of December 11th, we flew 14 people to space last year.
Okay.
And then this year, several more than that.
now I remember now, Pat. Maybe you can confirm this or deny this, but I remember several years ago, this first space tourist I think was one of the Backstreet Boys or maybe New Kids on the Block or something, or it was some boy band. He basically like paid a Russian rocket to take him up or something.
I don't
am
know
just
if you're making that
or
up, but
does that?
several billionaires have gone to space on, well, usually in Soviet rockets, right? You know, Richard Garriott from,
So-
the guy who made the Ultima video games, computer games, he went to space on a Russian
yeah.
rocket, and
Oh, you know what?
Me?
Go ahead, Pat.
I don't even remember what I was saying. Well, yeah,
Yes,
Richard
yes,
Garriott and maybe
You were saying Gary, whatever.
Mark Shuttleworth from Ubuntu. He went to space. I think I probably.
Okay.
I'll bleep it out and put whatever kind of rocket he went up on. I'll just dub it in, and it'll look like I know what I'm talking about.
You know. Speaking of video games, like Ultima, that's quite an old game at this point. But Anthony and I were talking at the Maker Faire, and I was talking about, I couldn't remember the guy's name, but it was John
Yeah.
Carmack. You know who that is, right,
Yeah.
Pat? Okay. And I said, yeah. I was like, yeah, Anthony. It was the guy who created Doom has a space program, I believe. And he's like, oh, Doom, that was kind of before my
Jinky.
time.
Yeah.
But he didn't
Like,
make Doom. He's
man.
famous for making Commander Keen, like 5 years before Doom. So that's
Well, that's definitely before Anthony's time. Wait,
Even
Carmack
worse.
made Doom, right?
Quake and Doom and Wolfenstein 3D.
Which interestingly enough, our former host Max, who I think is maybe like tiny bit younger than Anthony, he played Wolfenstein 3D. I'm like, man, that is. But I think he was like way too young for it, because I remember playing that one like I
Yeah,
was like
sounds
13
about
or
right.
so. Like, man, this is like a scary game. But
Yeah, I grew up. I think playing the earliest games like Atari and like Super Mario. I played those, but I just never played Doom.
Yeah.
Was Doom a computer game? Sorry
No,
if that's a
that's fine.
stupid question.
yeah, it was primarily a computer game.
Yeah. So I didn't have a computer till I was like 12, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, like most of my childhood was like Super Mario Brothers and Star Fox.
Yeah.
Was a
Okay.
big one
Oh,
for me.
Star Fox was a great game.
Yeah, I love
So,
that.
okay, now I'm feeling more like in the
Jeremy feels better.
not too old, I guess, because that.
Yeah. What about Final Fantasy? I like Final Fantasy when I was a kid too.
Well, I think I only played one or two of those games. Those role playing games. I always thought I always enjoyed them, but it always seemed kind of like I shouldn't, because basically you're just like pressing fight.
Yeah,
press
you're
fight,
rolling dice.
fight.
Yeah.
Except you don't have
Better.
to have the dice.
Yeah.
My friends and I, we used to play computer
Pretty
role-playing
much. It
games, but
just
not the console ones. The console ones seemed simple compared to... Simple or a pain in the neck to, you had to press up and down and select it instead of just hitting the key for the thing you wanted to do. It's like, why do we want to do this extra work to take longer to play a game when we could just, play it on a computer? They didn't have Final Fantasy on computers,
Yeah.
Jeremy. We played other games.
they not?
Not the early ones, no.
Star Fox was great though. I remember not having the right hardware to play it. I think I had a regular Nintendo. I never had like a Super Nintendo or a Sega Genesis or anything like that, because, well, my parents. I don't think my parents really wanted me playing video games that much, which was
They didn't know you
probably
could go out and
wise.
make John Carmack money.
It's funny how you're.
If you enjoyed that stuff enough.
Yeah, it was because in Doom the movie, which wasn't that great, he was great. I don't know if he was actually in it, or basically it was like Dr. John Carmack had like sent these people to space, and I thought that was great that they like wrote him into the movie somehow, which is kind of terrible. It wasn't that great of a movie. I think The Rock was in it when he had hair. So, if you can imagine.
I can't even imagine The Rock with hair. He looks. I mean, luckily for him, he's got a good shaped head because I actually have a bad shaped head. So if I went bald, I'd have I have like a ridge. Some people have weird shaped heads. He luckily has a nice shaped head.
He might have skull implants.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Is that a thing?
Yeah. You never know. He's got the money for it.
Yeah. Well, you got to
make my head look.
You got to get the skull implant to get the money from acting, so you can look good enough. So
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna need some work at some point, or I don't think my wife's gonna go for the bald look. Some guys can pull it off, but I don't think I'm that guy.
I'm the wrong person to ask, Jeremy. I don't understand style and things. I don't really know what's going on.
You got a nice button-up shirt.
I wore a
Pat.
long-sleeve shirt because it's cold today. And this one, it's kind of big.
Okay.
Oh,
doesn't this feel
it's
big?
cold here.
You don't know that it feels big. It just feels like a big shirt.
I don't know. I'm not there, and that'd be a weird thing to ask if I was there. But
yes.
Are you, Pat?
I'm near Dallas,
where are you located,
Texas,
Pat?
and it's been getting down near freezing almost every night the last few nights. Maybe this week.
wow.
Okay. Well, tomorrow I think it's going to be like 50. It's like that's why today it was kind of cold. I was for me.
We were at 59 during the day.
Yeah, it's going to be.
But I think we're going down into the mid 30s tonight.
I'm going to 52, which is like our Christmas.
Okay.
It's the coldest.
So Anthony's close enough to me that I'll probably be. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I suppose we're on different coasts of Florida, so maybe it'll be different here. But it was a little bit cold today because I rode my bike to the gym to work out today, and I had to put on long pants instead of my shorts. So, sometimes you got to deal with.
Sometimes I go out on my
hardships
wheel
here
and
in
I wear my
Florida.
shorts, and I don't make it very far, and I say, "Holy crap! I need to go back and, get pants."
Just a little explanation there. Pat has
No,
something called a one-wheel
I don't have a
that he
one wheel. I
rides
have an
around.
electric
that's cool.
unicycle.
I know what it is.
It's like a one-wheel turn sideways.
Sorry.
You ride it like you're skiing. The wheel goes between.
Sorry.
Now, we're gonna find out if you're old or young. Yeah, it's either.
You stand on it like
If you're old, you understand it as half a Segway. If you're young, you understand it as half a hoverboard. Is what I've learned from talking to people. But these are like one wheels, except they go fast. I could go about 30 miles an hour, and that'd be I should.
No, I've seen them. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I love it. It's
so
much
you like
it's
it?
very hard to learn to ride. It took weeks to get confident and comfortable. But we have there's like 20 miles of bike trail right behind my house, paved bike trail that go through the city here, and I just have to.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic having it right here.
Okay, I've been this close to buying one. I have an e-bike that goes 34 miles an hour.
Yeah, I
that's
try not
pretty
to
fast.
go anywhere near that. Fast.
For a
I stop at
bicycle.
about 20. I have a little. You can set an alarm. I have a speed alarm set on there, so if I go past 20, it beeps at me to let me know. Because the scariest part is the difference between 20 and 30 miles an hour when you're riding. It doesn't feel any scarier or more dangerous at 30. But I know I'm going to get hurt a lot more if I'm going 30 than 20. And I don't wear nearly enough protective gear for that.
Yeah, no.
But what's great about it, Anthony, you can pick it up. So you can ride. You can put it in your trunk.
I've seen them.
Like a bike is hard to take with you somewhere, and this you could just.
Hey.
No.
You know what they say? Hope you got a big trunk because I'm putting my bike in there.
I'm putting that up on Twitter, Jeremy.
Or I'm putting my one wheel in there.
Like in motion one, like one of these.
Yeah, like that. That's a really fast one, I think.
It doesn't
So
look
you
like
look.
it.
So you look
right
like
there.
that's you.
Oh, yeah. Listen to this, Anthony. Pat was telling me apparently he was riding around his unicycle, or sorry, his one wheel, and he I guess waves at this lady or something because apparently he waves at everybody, and she's like on her phone. She's like, "Yeah, it's that guy again." So he's like, Pat's apparently that guy around Plano, Texas. So
I'm probably easy to recognize. I only see
you two can be
unicycles
that
out there
guy
like maybe 3 or 4 other people, and very rarely do I see them.
Yeah, I've never seen one in person. I've seen one wheels, but no, I like those in motion ones are pretty cool. I love my e-bike for South Florida because a lot of the streets are 30 miles an hour. So, I mean, I used it all the time to just drive around South Florida, Boca, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. You're stuck in traffic, and at least I don't know. I like
I'm
it.
terrified
I get around a
whenever
lot
I go on
faster.
the roads here because
Actually.
well, I'm in Texas. Nobody likes bikes and scooters and things. They'll be happy to knock you right over. They're not terribly friendly to us.
Yeah, I know the laws are.
They are, and they're
different from
weird.
state to state, but I
Yeah,
can ride
like a bike
directly
is
in the road.
Oh, I'm gonna get this wrong. If I get this wrong, I'm sorry, but it's something like this. Like, I can't ride on a road with above a 35 mile an hour speed limit, but a bicycle can. Whether I could go that fast or not, I'm not allowed. I can go on a sidewalk, even though I could go 30 miles an hour, but a bicycle's not supposed to, I think. I could have some of this.
Yeah, it's weird. No,
Yeah,
there's definitely some weird
I
stuff.
go
yeah.
whether it's legal or not. There are lots of places where I will go on the sidewalk. I don't care because that's how I'm going to stop myself from getting run over. So I will continue to do that.
Well, we're not cutting that out.
Yeah,
Pat.
well-
We're going to keep that in there for evidence.
Well, I don't go 30 miles an hour on the sidewalk either because that's dangerous. You go slow on the sidewalk.
I guess before it goes out here, I know you've been a little quiet on YouTube these days. So are you working on anything awesome we should know about?
No, my lab is still under construction. I'm still in a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
And
'Cause
everything.
I guess
so-
you made the move from South Florida to where do you live now?
I live
What's
in
the address?
Brevard County, which is
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Cape Canaveral.
Yeah, we need the address really for.
Yeah, no, it's Space Coast. It's a cool fact if you didn't know that the area code for Brevard County is
countdown.
321, like 321 lift
I
off,
wonder when that happened.
Oh, that's nice.
and it's on purpose.
Oh, that's
Yeah, that
In 1999, they changed it.
before
321.
before around
They
then,
changed the area code on
321
purpose.
would not have been a legal area code. That wouldn't have been allowed. The numbers had to be. There were certain combinations that were allowed. The phone systems weren't smart enough for area codes
Yeah,
and
so
prefixes
that's
to match. It used. They never collided.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, it's a weird fact. The Brevard County, like my phone number is 321.
Oh, so now I know where to get my next phone number.
Starts with 321.
221 8675309, right?
But in terms of what I'm working on and what I want to work on, I do want to do YouTube stuff. It's actually pretty cool. When I got to work, everyone was like, "Oh, you're the YouTube
That's
guy."
right.
Like, it's like, yeah, I guess.
Like, put on your mask. I don't recognize you.
I'm not really the YouTube guy. I just have done YouTube, but yeah, a lot of people already. It was pretty. I got a cool welcome. And what was really cool is that I got offered multiple positions, and I got to choose. They said, "Do you want to go to Seattle? Do you want to go to Texas? Do you want to go to Virginia? Do you want to go to Colorado?" We have sites all over the country, but my wife refused to go where there was snow. Otherwise, I would have picked Colorado because Colorado is
that'd be cool.
my favorite state that I've been in. I love Florida too, but I grew up in Cape Canaveral. Like I grew up here, and, but anyway, I picked Kennedy Space Center. Because it's the coolest place. I mean, I get to watch launches every week.
That's awesome. Now is your wife? Your wife's from Colombia, is that
Colombia.
right? So
Yep.
yeah, she's a warm weather person, I suppose, as am I and my wife, I
Yeah.
suppose. So.
Yeah. She wants to stay here. She loves Florida, but she was in New York for 3 years, and she's like,
Well, snow
no
is more
more.
fun when you don't have to live in it. Go to work and shovel your car out,
Definitely,
clean your car off, and
Yeah, I've never had to do it. I lived in South Carolina for many years, and that was the. I thought that was, I went up there for college and stayed there for a long time. I thought it was going to be just so cold there. I thought it was just like the freezing north. But most people in the United States consider South Carolina to be like the south of the country, which is true. But when you're from Florida, your perspectives are a little strange, I think.
Yeah.
I've been trying to convince Jeremy that he needs to get his face on YouTube.
Yeah.
But he just won't do it.
I should tell myself the same thing. I can't really. I don't know. I never got around to it. I think it's important though. I think it does help. Definitely, like DIY. You guys interviewed him.
Yeah,
DIY Perk. Yeah, no, he's got a great channel.
Yeah.
And I really like his stuff. I
Jeremy's
listened
not
to that
nearly as
episode.
handsome as Matt Mark.
Great.
So.
Yeah, he's.
I mean, look at him here. But that's okay.
You know, that's probably true. But
Yeah,
but that's okay.
But
we can't
no,
all-
but
we can't
I
all
think
be-
I think there is something though to actually connecting. It's a little like even for me still. It's I've never made a video when I'm on. I think one video I have on camera. But here's a fun fact: Disney paid me to do the only video on my YouTube channel that shows my face. Disney paid me to take apart a bug zapper, and I showed how it worked. I explained the circuit in the bug zapper.
Very nice.
And they gave me $5,000. And
Why-
my family
why did-
didn't believe.
Why did they
My
want you to
family
do that?
didn't.
Was it
My
Disney?
family did. It was Disney was looking for talent, I think, and I wasn't it. But they paid me to try me. I think they were. I think that they were trying to get into that maker niche.
Oh, okay.
So how it worked out, they paid me $5,000 to make a video
Was the
on
bug
taking apart
zapper
a
your
bug
idea
zapper.
or their idea?
It's showing how it worked and putting it. It was mine. I gave them a handful of things that I
Okay.
could take apart and show, how it worked, and they
I
went
mean,
with that one.
$5,000 to fail at something
Yeah.
isn't so bad.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was my family though. Like people were like, "Oh, that's a scam." But I showed them I had a check with Disney Mickey Mouse on it, and I took it to the bank, and even the bank was like, "Hey, like, is this
We're
real?"
gonna find out.
Yeah, I promise.
find out
I
in 2
promise.
days.
It's not a. Yeah. No, I think you should show your face, Jeremy. I mean, it's I should too.
I mean, I do
But more
sometimes,
often.
but it's just not like. I guess my philosophy is it's about the project, not about me. But
Yeah.
maybe that's not the way.
No,
to
but
do
it is
either.
about you. No, it is about you though. It's about picking your brain, and your creativity is different than mine, and I think that's why you have a podcast like this, because picking people's brains is interesting and fun, and it's
No,
what it's all about.
I love meeting new people, love meeting, connecting with people, and it was awesome to meet you in person. I guess that's the cool thing. It's like, I don't know, it's just awesome to meet people like you, and like we're talking about Matt Perks. I mean, he was an awesome guest too, really great guy. I mean, lots of people we've had on that have been great.
Yep. I was
Great, of course.
listening to the previous podcast of your episode 10 today, and
Oh, okay.
maybe
I was
you
probably a
seemed
bit
just
more
fine,
nervous back
but there's
then.
no video to go along
I'm a
with it, so
bit-
I don't know if you looked nervous.
Okay.
But what I wanted to know, because there's a pick and place machine sitting behind me, and you guys sounded like you were talking about getting to a pick and place, and I didn't. I don't know what happened.
So you have, you talked about it in the DIY
we have
episode.
the open
you talked
source.
about the one you had.
Stephen
It was an
Hawes'
open source.
Lumen PNP.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I would love to have something like that. Like I have a rework station. I have all the equipment to do SMD work here, but it's hand placing, and you could get by. But I would love to have a little pick and place. And so after I listened to that episode, I was like, oh, that would be cool. But no, I've never made one. I've worked with a lot of them. Samsung, like big.
Yeah.
I've worked with a lot of big ones. X-ray machines and things like that.
I've gotten to the point. I've got my vision
VGAs
calibrated and stuff, but I'm at the point where I have to run my first job now, and I got a little intimidated, so I took a break.
That's awesome.
If you have some time, we did have Stephen Hawes on. I don't know if you've heard that one, but he was basically we were so impressed with him that Pat actually bought one after like a couple days.
Yeah, a few
after,
days
right?
after the interview, I ordered my
Awesome.
pick and place.
Okay, no, that's cool. I didn't know that you guys had him interviewed.
Yeah, he's
That's cool.
he's a good guy, and I was honestly I went into it a little bit skeptical about the whole thing. Anyway, he seemed like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
I was.
You can tell. I think once you talk to someone long enough, I think you can kind of tell. I think that as an engineer, the more you know that people don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and it's like people that act like they know what they're talking about. Usually they don't know what they're talking
You know when something sounds like marketing instead of actual know-how.
Yeah. I mean, with that, Pat, are you working on anything cool these days, or you got anything? I mean, your PNP,
Well, I had
obviously.
some trouble with one of my devices, Jeremy. I used one of your macro. This is the exact one that I use. I use this out in the garage on my CNC as my pendant to jog the axes around. And your knob on here, Jeremy, it was double clicking every time I turned it in one direction and single clicking.
Oh no!
and the other. So I brought it inside. I figured maybe I'll flash it and put a new delay on the, what do you call it? The key press delay, debouncing or something. But I brought it in here and I did this with it a couple of times.
You're spinning
and I plugged
around.
it in and it's working fine.
Okay, awesome. So I was thinking that could be like the World Cup edition. You spin it around, make lots of noise. It could be.
Yeah, I'm assuming I got carbon fiber dust in the switch there. Switch? What do you? The encoder? The rotary encoder?
The rotary encoder. Yeah.
Yep, and I bet spinning it around just cleaned out whatever was trouble in there, Jeremy. But I'm so happy to have that macro pad out there. It's so handy.
So I've been collecting stickers for a really long time, but
nice.
This one.
Oh, that's
I
great.
know that one.
We do know that one. That's awesome.
Yeah.
TCP.
Oh, I have the wrong mug. One of my mugs has it, but it's not this one. This is the Butter What mug.
Well, that's.
I love
that's
stickers.
really awesome.
So you're on my sticker wall of fame.
Anthony, are you old enough to know about Garbage Pail Kids?
I was born in 1990. You tell me.
Oh well. I don't know how long they persisted. I mean, they were brand new when I was in elementary school and excited.
They were kind of terrible, though. It's.
I don't know what they are. No.
Oh,
sorry.
well, they're terrible. Well, they're stickers. And I really want to be a Garbage Pail Kid. I want to make a Garbage Pail Kid of me. But if you don't understand, it won't be a good conversation.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
It's fine. It's been on my mind this week, though.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, there you go. So that could be your new project, Pat.
Yeah, I'll be on a sticker.
Yeah.
No, for me, I want to get back to YouTube. I don't really know how that's going to work and what direction that's going to be in. I want to get into more 3D printing because now I'm getting deeper in it at work. So I think it makes sense that I could be more 3D printing heavy on my channel. So my channel might take a direction that's not expected, but I think it'll be most beneficial to the people watching if I somehow use the expertise I'm gaining. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Are you just going to be doing hobby 3D printing like I do at home, or are you going to be including metal?
Yeah, no,
because the metal stuff that'll get tons of views because nobody else is able to do it.
Yeah, but I can't take pictures at work. That's the thing. My camera, I can't touch my phone. I can't take videos past the lobby. So. It's something I'm not used to.
You get Universal Studios or Busch Gardens to sponsor you taking apart some stuff.
No, I have two Prusas and I love them. I have a Prusa a Mini and a regular i3 MK3S, I think it's called.
I tried to buy a Mini when I bought
awesome.
my MK3, but the lead time on them at the time, when my old 3D printer broke, it was like 4 months before you could get a Mini, and I needed a 3D printer. I couldn't wait that long.
Yeah, no, I love those printers, so I haven't had any problems with them.
Jeremy, what kind of projects are you working on?
Oh, well,
Somebody's supposed
actually,
to
I guess
ask
my
you that.
projects.
Yeah.
I've got a clock I'm working on. I've been working on this for a while. I think maybe Anthony saw it at the Maker Faire. Basically, it's got 3 different faces with PCBs on them, circuit boards, and it's kind of done-ish, but it needs to be programmed a bit more. And these things are never really done. Also, it was kind of interesting. I took my clear crawler, my little rocking robot, to my kids' school. Was it yesterday, I guess? And basically, I had it like crawling around to the school and stuff.
That's
the kids
cool.
were, kids loved it. Although my son said that the kids were scared of it. So I understand that too. So get a little of both. Little. It was memorable one way or another. But yeah, so Pat, Anthony, thanks so much. Well, Pat, you're always here.
Thanks
you're
for
the
having
co-host.
me on, Jeremy.
Yeah, you're welcome, Pat.
I
Thanks
had
for
fun.
having me on.
No, I had a good time, and if either one of you are in this area, if you know ahead of time, I can get you a tour.
Oh, that would
Just
be
throw 'em-
awesome.
just-
You
actually.
should get
Just-
up there,
just
Jeremy.
throw-
Up there? Down there?
Sideways,
Sideways.
out,
Oh,
sideways.
I'll slide
Out
over
there.
there.
So
That would be
just let me
awesome.
know.
I may just take you up on
Yeah.
that.
You should go, Jeremy, because I got a
Yeah.
tour of a bottling factory once, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. It was like Laverne and Shirley, and it was great, except more modern because Laverne and Shirley didn't have to be in there. But
Yeah.
that was cool.
Well,
and there's no
Pat,
rockets
Laverne and Shirley was
involved.
before my time, and probably
Well,
before yours.
technically it's before my time too, but they had reruns when I was small on the TV.
Yeah. Well, you remember that Charlie Chaplin film back in the day?
No, that's
we were
before
kids.
my time for sure.
Yeah, mine too, actually. Anyway, thanks you guys for everybody for listening to us or watching us, and hope you have a great week, whatever week it is.
Yep.
So.
See you guys. Thanks.
Have a good one, everyone.